Hello and welcome to this video. It's quite specialized, so it's not particularly for entertainment purposes. So if this is a walkthrough of how to create your own VPN between two separate networks. If that doesn't sound like your bag, then that's fine. But if you're here for that, stick around. I'll talk you through it exactly step by step. Some things that you need to know, and it's actually very easy. So let's get straight to it. What do I mean when I say this? Let's say you have two separate networks. I'm going to use my house and my mom's house as two separate locations, both with two different internet connections. But let's say I want to access all my stuff on my network when I'm there and the other way around. So how do I do that? So I'm going to create two devices that one sits on one network and one sits on the other, and basically takes all the information for each other's network and passes it between them. This is free once you bought the equipment. There's no subscription. It's not like a VPN you have to pay for every month. It's reasonably easy to do, and once it's set up, it's pretty solid. Why would I want to do this? Well, I've got a media server in this house, and I've got a tablet and a TV at my mum's, so when I'm there I want to be able to watch whatever I've got stored here. That's the basic use case for me, but might be something different for somebody else. And there's lots of configurable options. And I might do one later where I can show you how to make it seem like all your traffic comes from a different point. Might be useful for Netflix subscription or Amazon Prime, so it'll make you look like you are where you aren't. Okay, let's get straight into it and have a look what you need. Okay, this is what you're going to need. So these are the Raspberry Pis. These are the 3 Bs. You can use a 4 if you want faster connection, but this will do for us. Power supplies for that. SD cards, you can get away with 8, but just had 16s lying around. And you need, for each one, you need a patch cable to go into the router. So that is all you need, really. The rest is just programming. We need to prepare the router on each end of the connection. So we'll start here at the home address. The main point here is you must have a different IP address range on both routers. So here at home, 192.168.0.0 is the start of the range for home. And we're going to have to view at the remote location to make sure it's not the same. So first things first, let's get into it. Have a look at the router and make sure that routers on both ends have different IP addresses. So let's have a look here, and then we'll have a look at the remote location. Yep, you can see I've accessed my router at home, and there I have one local area network, and that's 192.168.0.1. Okay, so that's the IP address locally at home. Let's go and check the one at the remote location and make sure that they're different. Here we are at the remote location, and the internet here is provided by a 4G router. And actually, strangely, the shed is the best place for the signal. Yes, I know. Anyway, let's have a look. So we've got the router here, complete with a snail. For some reason there's a snail there, I don't know. Anyway, here's the router, and then it goes to the rest of the house via Ethernet over the power lines, or CPL as it's called here. So what we're going to do is let's use the wireless network to connect to this router. Then we can find out what IP address range we've got here. Hopefully it's not the same as the home system. If it is, we'll have to change it. And would you believe it? It's exactly the same. So you can see that although the numbers are slightly higher, we need to change that now to a completely different subnet. The easiest way to do that is just change this number here to a 1, and then that automatically below there changes the IP address range to a different subnet. All the devices and everything that were connected to the original IP address now have to be changed to the new one. So go around and check every device, but I have a hack for that. We just turn off all the power and that resets everything. So let's do that. We'll do one to start with that's going to live here. So we'll do the home side of things first. We also need a connection to the router. My router happens to be in the basement, but I have a wired connection here that goes all the way down. And in effect, that's plugged into the back of the router in a spare port. So you also need a laptop to program it. It doesn't really matter what type of laptop you've got. And you're also going to need some way of writing files to this SD card. So here we need to put a USB port on and a little SD card to USB, but I'll show you that when we do it. And that's really all you need to start with. The first thing we need to download is a program to write to the SD card. So we will use Berliner Etcher. And just download, that's available for Windows and Mac, but we can just download straight to the computer, and then we'll fire it up from there. Once we've downloaded that, we then need to download the software. The software is called DietPi. Just do a quick search, go across to download, and then select for Raspberry Pi, whichever model you've got. Ours is a 3, so just click on that. And just click over to the left here on download, and then wait for it to download to the computer. That's it really. Once we've got our SD card in, start up Berliner Etcher, select the image of DietPi we downloaded, and then select your SD card and flash. And then just wait till it's finished. I have to put my password for this, but sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And then that will flash the SD card, and I'll come back when it's done. We flashed both SD cards exactly the same. I just showed you doing it once, but we do two identical just like that. And now we're just going to put it in the machines and turn them on. Okay, so here's one of them. And we just put the SD card in this little slot there. Okay. And then we connect in the network, the power, and that's it. So we know that it's on because there's a little red light there. And you can look at this side and you want to see an orange flashing light, which indicates there's some network connectivity between the two. Once that's in and you've got those lights, we need to go back to the computer and discover which IP address has been assigned to that DietPi, if you like. So let's go and look and see if we can find the address and take it from there. We've discovered DietPi we just made is 192.168.03. So what we're going to do now is set that to a fixed access point, fixed IP address. And that will always stay at that address, which is what we need. Now we know the fixed static IP address of our subrouter. We are now going to use our terminal window, or you can use PuTTY if you've got Windows computer, it doesn't really matter. Anything that's capable of doing SSH, okay? Just have a quick Google at what that is if you need to. So we're going to do that, finish up the setup of DietPi and then install Tailscale. Let's do that. So in the terminal window we are going to do SSH, and then the root is the username. So sometimes you just put the IP address in, but this needs it first. And then hit return, and the password is DietPi, all lowercase, but I got that wrong once. Now the system is loading up, and it goes on for this for quite a long time, so I'll come back to you when it's done. Okay, and there we have it. This is the end coming up. Took in total a couple of minutes, about 5 minutes maybe, something like that. And here we are, the command prompt. So we will just reboot it and then SSH in just as before. So on the reboot here, it's just going through a startup, and then we get this, we just need to click OK, and then we're going to set up a new global password, so it's not DietPi anymore. So type in whatever password you want it to be there. I would probably keep them both the same on both subrouters, so you know which one's which. You have to retype it twice, and there we go. And then you need to set a user password as well, so we'll do that. I made mine the same, but you can do whatever you want with yours, obviously. Once that's done, it will then ask you to configure it. So we don't want serial either, we're not interested in that. So let it do its business. Now this is the interesting bit. We need to go to search for software, type in Tailscale, OK, press spacebar and then tab down to confirm and enter, and then just go to install. And would you like to begin? Yeah, that's it. Let it do its business, and then we should end up back at the command prompt. There's one last thing. Do you want to opt in or out of sending data? Just select whichever one you want to do, it doesn't really matter. And that's it, back at the command prompt. So on the Tailscale website, under the subsection subrouters, this command here that I'm highlighting, or 3 commands, we need to run on our subrouter. So SSH in as before, using the root, but now with your new password that we set up on the installation. And we should be able to get into the command line. There we go. And all I do is just copy the lines from the right hand side there to the left. If you press copy all, this is what happens. It copies all of it, which you don't want. So just copy and edit it. Copy and paste each line individually and run them as separate commands. So put the first line in and then press enter, and then the second line, and then the third line, and so on. Like that. And then do the second. Copy. Paste. Okay. And then once you've done all 3, we will then set Tailscale running. Copy the third. Run. And that's it. Okay, so we're going to set up Tailscale now. I'll zoom in a bit. This is the exact command you want to put in with your home address IP ranging. So we need to type advertise routes just like that, and then your home address 0, 0, that's the starting of it, and then you need a /24 for most routers, and then you need accept routes as well, so that it will receive the routes from the other network. run that. Now copy the secure link you've got down there and copy that to the clipboard, and I'll show you what to do with that now. So go to a web browser, anywhere, paste that in, and log into Tailscale from that link. I'm going to sign in with my Google ID. Select for personal use and then scroll down because it's a bit hidden, and we just want to go straight to the administration page. Here we are. Okay, once you're in, well, the first thing we need to do is disable the key expiry so we don't have to keep re-authenticating it all the time. And then edit root settings, and that will bring up this, and we just need to authorize our IP addresses. Sorry it's all blacked out, but I can't really give away the IP addresses online. Should give you an idea. Click on close, and then you can change the name of your DietPi, otherwise you'll have two the same name, so we're going to just name this one home. Just click on there, put in home, update your name, and that's pretty much it. So following on from that, I think we're ready to go. We now have our subnet router for home all configured, lovely. We have our Tailscale account, which has the expiry disabled for the key, so you don't have to keep re-authenticating it. And it's still plugged into our home network, and we know what our fixed IP address for it is. We just got one last thing to do at home, and then that's the home setup completed. We now need to tell our router here that any traffic or any time someone wants to access our remote network, any requests for that, so anybody who types in an address or needs to access an IP address on our remote network, the router says, hang on, I know what to do with this. I'm going to send it to our subnet router, and then it can forward it on. The way that we do that is add a static route. Here we are inside the router settings again. We'll go to routes, create a new static route, name, we'll just name it whatever we want, remote network or something along those lines. And basically we want to put in here destination, so that's the remote IPs. So that will be 1, 0, because that's the start, and then 24. And any request for that will be sent directly to our little home subnet router, which we know is on number 3 here, 03. Simple as that, all done. That's the static route setup. Really is that simple on this system. We'll see at the remote network because it's a different router, and see if that's just as easy. Okay, so that's our home side of it all done. We don't need to do anything else now. So let's go to the remote location and carry on, set up the subnet router for the remote location while we're there, so we do it all in one place. Yeah, should be interesting. Let's go. Okay, so we're back now at the remote site. I've plugged in our little subrouter, so that's into the main router for the whole of the system, which is great. So let's go back to the computer, see if we can find the IP address assigned to that device, and we'll go from there. You can see inside the router settings there on the client list, the DietPi has been given the one ending in 9, so that's all we need to know. While we're here, we're just going to make sure that has a static IP. So To do this, we just search for the DietPi on the list, click plus, and that's done. So we've set this DietPi up to be exactly the same as the other one. We're going to use the Tailscale up command. Don't forget we've already forwarded the IPs, that copy and paste to those commands. So Tailscale up, advertise routes 192.168.1.0/24, and then don't forget accept routes command as well. Okay, so we took that hyperlink at the bottom there, put it in, and we ended up back at our console. So we can edit the name of this new machine to something like remote or something like that. And then we don't forget we need to disable key expiry, and then edit routes, and then enable the routes that we've advertised with the DietPi. Pretty much that's everything you need to know for the Tailscale. You can now just leave that completely alone. So here is the test. We're on our laptop at a remote location, and I'll enter IP address of a Jellyfin server that's on my home network. Let's see what happens. There we go. So we've got access to it. The big test is, can we actually play anything? So let's have a look. We'll just have a look. Pick any old movie. I was watching this the other night. It's very good if you haven't seen it. Very interesting. It's loading. There we go. So that's now streaming direct from my basement all the way here. Would you believe it? This is interesting. Let's see if I can access my Home Assistant system that's at home. It should give me an overview of what's going on at the house. Looks like it's working. There we go. So I can view the dashboard along with the CCTV, everything that's going on at my house. So it looks like it works. Success. And that is it. So you can see how that works. I can access items at home when I'm away. So if that's what you wanted to achieve, a secure site-to-site VPN, it's a very easy way of doing it. Please like the video, don't forget to subscribe, and check out my other videos as well, and see you on the next one.